Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a latest episode of our 49ers Takes. It's been a while. Me and Raj. I was sick with COVID last week, so Raj was holding it down on YouTube. Yeah, so me and Raj are not franchise quarterbacks because we wear our hats backwards. According to Colin Cowherd, the way to measure somebody if they're a franchise quarterback is of how they wear their hat during press conferences.
Yeah.
And in case you guys don't believe me, I'm going to play it for you as we start this, just so we can kind of just get right into the meat and potatoes before we start talking about 49er v Eagles. So
We're
I'm
going
going to
right
play it.
into it. Cold open.
This is what happens when you have a platform that everybody sucks your ass because you have it, and you can just say whatever you want. This is what happens. So let's play this trash.
There is one thing that does make me pause on San Francisco. I'm a big believer. I like my quarterbacks to be adults. I don't want them to be frat boys. So Jalen Hurts at the podium is the best podium quarterback in the league. Hat on forward, professional, almost manicured, got that CEO like a real grown-up. Brock Purdy. Hey, you guys want to hit some golf balls? You got a hat on backwards. He's not a franchise quarterback. I mean, come on. If that guy came to move your couch, you'd be like, are you a professional? I don't know. I'm telling you, it really bothers me. Maybe I'm overstating. He's probably a nice kid. His dad needs to call him and say, turn that thing around. By the way, you guys say it doesn't matter. All right. I'm not saying you can't wear it backwards in the garage, playing Frisbee, but hacky sack, your baristas out there. I know that's the de facto, default, dress attire. Franchise quarterback, Wednesday podium. Jalen Hurts is how you want to look. Franchise quarterback, CEO, respectful to the owner and the organization.
What?
Wow.
Does anybody know what he's talking about? And to hello to everybody who knew that I was sick, and thank you for the compliments that I sound a little bit better. I still sound a little frazzled, but I saw this earlier today. I thought it was like a fake video. I thought somebody made a video that was fake. I saw it on your timeline, and I'm like, this can't be real, man. Like, we're going into Eagles 49ers. This is like one of the biggest games of the years for the 49ers. And we got this dumbass who's still sour that Trey Lance, did his daughter dirty and threw her to the wayside. And now he's taking his frustrations out on Brock Purdy because he wears his hat backwards. I don't know. I always wore my hat backwards for years until I started doing YouTube streams, and then I decided to turn it forward. But since, I'm just like a shitty YouTuber who doesn't really get much views, I guess I can wear my hat backwards because I'm not a franchise YouTube channel. So what'd you think about this, man?
I mean, I guess I'm not a franchise YouTuber too. I have done so many streams with the hat back. Like, I love wearing the hat back. It's just it's a fun vibe. Like, this is crazy to me. It is like the dumbest take. Like, if you're going to, he said this before many times, like he did it with Baker Mayfield. Like, it is the dumbest thing. Colin Cowherd has a platform, and he wastes his time. He says stupid stuff like this because, he doesn't have the hat forward. He's not professional. You know how many players have had their hat backwards? Let me show you something. Check it out. Oh, there's his manicured king, Jalen Hurts. There's his manicured king, Jalen Hurts, with his hat backward. Hold up. We got more. There's more coming. Hold up. Guess what? Oh, is that Aaron Rodgers? Franchise? I guess he's not a franchise quarterback, Aaron. Hold up. We got more. Oh, is that Lamar Jackson? Not only is it a backwards, it's a visor backwards. He must be the worst quarterback of all time. Okay, hold up. We got my man Tom Brady with the backwards hat sideways. Actually, this is even worse than backwards, right? I guess he's not a franchise quarterback. Hold up. There's more. It gets better. Oh, listen. This is a legend right here. Steve Young. Not only he has a helmet backwards. Hold up. One more. There's one more.
No way.
Oh, check this one. Patrick Mahomes, hat backwards, sunglasses, WWE World Heavyweight title. Not franchise quarterbacks. That is the dumbest thing I heard all day. He's a clown. Colin Cowherd is the biggest clout chaser of them all. And I think you're right. He is still jealous about the whole Trey Lance situation. You know who wore his hat forward? Trey Lance.
He had to cover up that bald spot.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry. I had to, guys. I'm sorry. He's not on this team anymore. It's a fair shot. I got a big ass forehead. That's why I can wear my hat, whatever. I just like wearing hats in general, cover up the big forehead. But I don't know, man. To me, it's just one of those things where it's just like, I know it's not really that serious, but when you have a platform like he does, it kind of comes off like, I don't know, man. Just sounds like a hater.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he sounds like. He sounds like a hater who's just looking for a reason to shit on the 49ers ahead of this humongous game.
Yeah.
That I think we need more than they do. You know my feelings about, content creation and general, how I've kind of lost the respect for it it's become more of just, like you said, like for clout, money. It's not really about the passion or the love or anything like that.
Yeah.
And some of these famous guys, they just make that more abundantly clear. It's funny though. I like guys like Pat McAfee. I really dig he respects the Niners a lot. I dig his show. Most of the guys on NFL Network are okay, but this guy, he's just, oh my God. I never knew my quarterback was looked at as a guy that can move furniture for people because his hat's on backwards. That's just his corny garbage.
It's corny. That's what it is. It's like so cringe. It's corny. And again, he does it for his views and everything like that. But the thing about Colin is he just does these things. He's such a flip-flopper because a couple of weeks ago he was praising Brock. And now, he's not a franchise because he's wearing a hat backwards. He does it to get attention. And again, you're right. This is a big game coming up. And Colin's like, okay, how can I put the attention on myself? How can I be in the spotlight? Let me make some outlandish take. And you know what? At the end of the day, as bad as this stupid thing was, what are we talking about? What is on social media? What is trending in 49ers Twitter? If you go around most pages or 49ers, social media pages, most people are talking about this. And that's what he does. He knew what he's doing, his target audience. He hit him in the head. You talk trash about a team or whatever the case is, and that's gonna happen. So, you know what I mean? It's just unfortunate.
Let's talk about this game, man. A lot of talk. It's been a year in the making. A lot of talk. The 49ers did a lot of talking. We did a lot of talking, a lot of complaining, a lot of pointing fingers of what we thought would happen if the game had gone a different way. And I was listening to Jason Aponte the other day, and he was just like, "It's put up or shut up time, man." Shut up. Like, there's no more talk. There's no more blaming and Brock hurt, this, that, and the other. Just the Niners. This is the most important game of their season, man. Because this is the defending NFC champs who barely lost the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So the 49ers it's not an undoable task. It's not unreachable. They're beatable. But, to me, and I know a lot of 49er fans are not going to like hearing this, until the Niners dethrone the Eagles, they're the best team in the NFC, and they have a better record and all that stuff. And you can hate it, you can criticize, people's takes and say that, the Eagles are, they're trash or whatever. They find, but what Bill Parcells always said, you are what your record is, and they have a better record right now, and they find ways to win. And they got a really good team. Their coach might be a douchebag who's annoying and stupid and childish. But they win. Do I agree with the way that the officiating goes in their games? No, I think there's definitely some stuff to be talked about in that place. But how are you feeling, man? Are you nervous? I'm nervous for this game.
Nervous. I am nervous about this game because you hit the nail on the head. This is probably the biggest game of the year. And until the 49ers can beat the Eagles, they're not the best team in the NFC. I agree with you. They're 10-1. The Eagles are. They got a great defense. Their line is solid offensively. They got great weapons. Like right now, until it's like what Ric Flair said, right? Back in the day, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. To be the man, you got to beat the man. To be the team, you got to beat the team. At the end of the day, if the 49ers want to be the team, they got to beat the team. Regular season, it still matters because this is a game for the seed. They got to get that number one seed. And in order to get there, they have to chip away at the Eagles. And Eagles have been playing tough. They beat some great teams. No matter how they did it, they did it. They stuck around with teams like Philly, not Philly, Kansas City and Buffalo. And although, we could sit here and say they should have lost those games, they did it. They stuck around. They found a way to win. It's a team that you don't let hang around. And I think this is a monumental game because the 49ers want to win a Super Bowl. They got to be able to beat a team like Philadelphia. Because it's going to be hard to run back to the link in the playoffs. You want to have that Levi Stadium home field advantage in the playoffs. And they got a 2-game lead on the Niners, and until the Niners beat them, they'll always be behind them. And there's a lot of revenge on this game. We've heard all the talk. Bradbury, Debo, they've been jibber-jabbing. Hassan Reddick said the boo-hoo. They've been boo-hooing all off season. And really, if you think about it, he wasn't wrong. Like, he said what he says. Like, all the 49ers said was, all offseason, we need to make sure if we had Brock, it would have been a different story. If we had Brock. Well, now you got Brock, and the 49ers have to show that they would have won if they had Brock. And again, they got to prove themselves. No more talk. You just got to go out there and play the game.
Yep. I got to fix my little rotating helmet for a second. I'm really distracted.
Okay. Oh, man. He's got a little distracted. But at the end of the day, like I said, monumental game. Both teams, doesn't matter, injuries, they're going to play through it. Like Arik Armstead today, he had the foot injury. He said he's playing. Like, he's not missing this game. Dallas Goedert, he's coming off the injured reserve for this game. Lane Johnson, he had a groin injury. He's not missing this game. Like, this is the biggest game in the NFC this year, no matter what. Regular season, this is the biggest game of the regular season out of all teams. And this is like a mini Super Bowl. Like, if you win this game, you have a huge advantage going into the playoffs. 49ers mentally need to get this game, because that's another edge that I think the Eagles have on them, is mentally the 49ers probably don't think they can win this game, or they didn't think they could win that game in the NFC Championship. Now the 49ers need to win this so they can mentally say, man, we just walked into the link and beat them. If Brock Purdy walks into the link, Aaron, and he comes out with the victory, he could wear this hat backwards. He could wear the hat sideways. He could wear it front ways. He could wear it like this. He could wear a hat however he wants, because that is a franchise quarterback going into hostile territory and getting a dub. He could wear that hat wherever.
The way I look at it is this: we can only take care of what we can take care of, right? So if we go in and we beat them, now we're 1 game behind. So we did our part, and now you kind of depend on them to see if they're going to falter. They have a really easy stretch, though. Philadelphia's got an easy-ass schedule, guys. I don't see them winning or losing. If they beat the Niners, I could maybe see them dropping 1 game. They're that good.
They had a tough set, but they were able to win those tough games against Kansas City and Buffalo. They got the Niners, then they got the Cowboys, and the Seahawks, who are playing right now against the Cowboys. They could win those games, and then you're right, they finish off against the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Giants.
It's not fair. we got them, and then we got the Ravens too. We got to worry about, and then we got
Ravens are tough.
Cardinals and Seahawks, and
we could take the Cardinals down. We could take the Rams down. Like, those 2 games are winnable. Seahawks, we crushed them already. I think we can crush them again, this time in Levi Stadium. So honestly, the 49ers schedule is not as bad as it could be, but they do have the Ravens looming. That's a critical game, because I think the Eagles are going to beat the Seahawks. I think the Eagles can beat the Cowboys. That's a game that could be a toss-up. If the 49ers could take this game from Philly, maybe the Cowboys could do us a solid and take down the Eagles. So then if the 49ers could take down the Eagles and the Cowboys do it, we got that number 1 seed. So, but then again, if the 49ers lose to the Ravens, Eagles get that number 1 seed. So these are some critical games. They have to get this game against the Eagles.
Definitely. I want to say hi to the chat, you guys. I haven't said anything to them yet. We had a Red Jet Shell come in here about 9:00. She said hello. Aaron and Raj. We got Jimmy Perez in the house. He says hit that like button and subscribe to both channels. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys don't mind, if you're watching on Raj's channel, come over to my channel, and if you're watching on my channel, go over to Raj's channel. Support both channels. Raj is trying to rebuild his channel on another channel. He had his original channel, but now he's trying to rebuild RSF 49ers Live. So please help out with that. Go to his Instagram too. He's got a huge Instagram. Talks 49ers on there too. He'll probably go on after we finish stream tonight.
Probably after this Seahawks Dallas game, I'll probably be live talking Niners. And speaking of that Instagram, bro, we are close. Like, it's crazy. I don't want to like brag or go, but it's actually crazy because like the more I get closer, I'm like, oh my God, I'm proud of the work. We're close to 300K followers on Instagram. It's insane, dude. It's insane. It's insane.
Raj, depressed Niner fan, says, I'm actually in line to go eat food, but I always find time to watch your live. That's awesome.
See, that's awesome, man. I appreciate it. My daughter's eating. We DoorDash some Panda Express because I wasn't cooking again
I
tonight.
told
2 days
Raj,
in a
I was
row.
like, if you want, eat on stream. You know,
I
eat your
know.
Taco Bell, whatever.
I might just grab the box and eat it, but I want to wait till after the show. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I saw some comments in there from my man. Hey, Peter Parker says that this is a game where we're gonna find if what do you say? This game's gonna decide if BCB is really BCB. Like, this is a game for Brock Purdy to silence a lot of haters. So to show that, yeah, you know what? If the 49ers had me last year, we probably would have won this game. Like, this is a legacy game in a way for Brock Purdy, or a big game early in his career. Like, this is one of the defining moments. If he could again walk into the link and take down the Eagles, man, I'm telling you, these media people might actually respect him, because there's still people out there slandering him, still saying he's a system quarterback. I think some people are coming around, right? Shannon Sharp, some guys are coming around, but you still got the Nick Wrights of the world, the Colin Cowherds, like we talked about. This is a game, man. If Brock Purdy goes out there and has a phenomenal game, I think the MVP talk should be heating up for him. He needs, and this is what I said earlier in the week in one of my shows, this is a game where I think Brock Purdy needs to have an MVP moment. Like, he hasn't had that moment yet. This could be a game where he has his MVP moment. Jalen Hurts had an MVP moment last week against the Bills. I'll get that touchdown. I'll give it to him. That was nice. Like, that's impressive. That is a moment that when you're looking and if you were a voter, like, you're gonna, oh man, remember that overtime clutch run, like that, oh, Jalen Hurts. That's an MVP type moment. Brock Purdy needs to have one of those. He's had a few good moments, but not an MVP. Put the game on the back. Oh my God, I just beat a big team, clutch win. Because what is the big criticism that Brock Purdy's had is he hasn't been able to win from behind.
Susan D thinks that the score is not going to be close. She's like, I'm going to be positive. Brock's going to show out. Score won't be close. Okay. I've heard a couple people talk about they think the Niners might blow out the Eagles. I don't think that's going to happen. But I've heard that from a couple different. I listen almost in like a trance, you know, because I haven't done a lot of YouTube in the last couple of weeks. But like, I'll put on like KNBR, you know, any of the other platforms that I listen to.
Yeah.
On 49ers, whatever, other YouTube channels. And I hear, you know, somebody on Twitter saying, I don't think this game may be close. I think the Niners are going to kick their ass. And I'm like, whoa, I ain't going that far. Like, I think the Niners are a really good team. I think we have a chance to do some things. I still think we could win the Super Bowl this year, even if we lose to Philly. It's going to be really hard, though.
It won't be easy. Yeah, they could do it. They're a team that has
Philly. This game in Philly, to me, is important to us because it proves that we could go in there and beat them. And there's a chance we're probably going to have to go back in there and beat them again. It's not saying that we can't. Okay, so say we don't beat them, right? But we should have a good showing. You know, that'll give me confidence. As if we go in there, we get boat raced and Brock Lake's horrible and the weather's bad and, you know, we're committing penalties, which, you know, we're going to get called on because the refs love that's why the title of my stream is can the Niners defeat the Eagles and the refs? People are like, oh, you're just a bunch of complaining assholes. I'm like, no, I'm being serious. Like, the refs are definitely been a part of a lot of these Eagles games. Real quick, I want to say what's up to David McNiner. He's telling everybody to pray for Corey Davis. He's actually in the hospital. He's not doing real well. People not doing real well at all. Don't know how things are going to go. I heard from Brian Culp that things are not looking good. So, Dave, thank you for coming in here and letting everybody who knows who Corey Davis is, go for prayer for him. He's dealing with a lot of health problems. So, yeah, definitely. I heard about it before I started the show. I was just trying to figure out a place to kind of sneak it in. So that sucks.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Prayers up, man. Hopefully everything works out. But yeah, you never like to hear any of that, especially to one of our fellow Niner fans. You know,
exactly.
Prayers up, man. That's sad to hear.
Yeah, this game to me is very important, and it's the most important game of the year. I mean, you know, the Niners talked about after they had their huge losing streak that they got to go back to just playing one game at a time. And that sounds really cliche, but it's really, in the NFL, it's really all you could do. I know we're talking about Eagles and all that stuff, but the Niners' last two games, they've really played really well. They've showed that they're kind of like a step above the NFC's, you know, middle teams. And, you know, maybe the Eagles are a smidge above the 49ers, because you have to give them. People are like, oh, F them, whatever. But it's like, no, they still got the best record and they beat us last year when it counted. So until we beat them, we can't really say much. I mean, you can talk, you can be confident, but you know,
but then it goes back to the whole conversation, Aaron, and this is where every Niner fan and the players, again, it's like a circle, and that's why this game is so important to really show this is a measuring stick game. This is a measuring stick for both teams. Because if the Niners are the best team in the NFC, they're going to prove that this weekend. And again, the other talking point was, okay, yeah, the Eagles beat the 49ers, but they didn't have their quarterback. And again, going back, circling through all, that's what the comments where Debo was, famously quoted for saying, if we would have had Brock, it would have been a different game. Brandon Ayuk said, had we had Brock, we would have been able to showcase what we saw in the film. He said they're going to attack the secondary. So to me, this is huge. This is why Brock Purdy's name is so big this week. Like, he's the guy. He's the guy that is going to be at, the top of the X Factor list. Like, you talk about all the players in this game. You could talk about who you think is going to be underrated player, who's going to be the X Factor. None of it matters. The biggest X Factor is Brock Purdy because he's the one guy that wasn't in this game for the 49ers last year. And everybody said if he was in, they would have won the game. There's a couple other X Factors that joined the party, Chase Young and Javon Hargrave. But Brock Purdy is the biggest X Factor. Again, measuring stick game. If the 49ers go out to the link, and I think you just said this, and they have a very respectable, game, and if they don't win, but they know they could probably win the next time, then yeah, guess what? That's a good confidence builder. If they go in there and get smoked, there's a lot to digest. There's a lot of film. There's still some figuring out. If they go in there and dominate, guess what? The Eagles now are shook. Their confidence, they're going to be like, well, they walked into our stadium. We can't beat these guys. They had Brock Purdy, and they were right. They were right. All offseason, we looked like clowns. It's a measuring stick game.
What's weird about this one is if you win, then it's like, but what if we lose in the playoffs? If we lose, then it's like, well, if we win in the playoffs, then it'll be worth it. Like, it's, what do you want? You want a December win?
It's tough. Like,
or do you want a February win? Like,
it's tough.
I'm kind of torn.
I want them both.
Me being legit, I want both. Yeah, I want both. I want both wins. So Randy Daytona made a good point. He says their defense is their defense has been struggling. And David says, David Salgado says this game will come down to Purdy. Yeah, it's really, I really do think Purdy is going to have a really big game. Not like out of this world game, but he can't have a game where he's throwing some picks and playing erratic and stuff. I think he's capable. It's going to have to be that perfect storm of Kyle calling a really good game and Brock executing it. So
absolutely. And the thing about
go ahead.
The thing about this game, you mentioned Randy said how their defense isn't as good as people think. So they're secondary. That's where you got to attack them, and that's why I think the comment of this game is going to come down to Brock is very important or very true, because if you look at this Philadelphia Eagles defense, right? They're secondary. We talked about it this week. They're like 29th in pass defense. According to Brian Baldinger this morning, he posted a very eye-opening stat. So the most passing touchdowns allowed for the season coming into this week's slate of games before this Cowboys and Seahawks game came to fruition. The most passing touchdowns allowed, number one, the Commanders, 28. Number two, the Philadelphia Eagles have allowed 23 passing touchdowns. Now, the Bears, right behind them, 23, and the Cardinals are 21. The Commanders, Bears, and Cardinals are all terrible teams, and the Eagles are right there in this mix of touchdowns allowed passing. So it tells you they have a weak link, and it's their secondary. And Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, that's exactly what they said during the offseason and got slandered and had their name thrown across the mud because, you guys are just salty. They are telling us the facts. And today the facts are this season, the Eagles are second allowed in passing touchdowns. So they were not
They're also
lying.
32nd against covering tight ends too.
Exactly. So Kittle, Deebo, Ayuk, they can eat this week and prove their takes right? That's why they got so mad, because they weren't saying anything that wasn't wrong. They were giving you the stats, seeing what they showed. They were talking about what they saw on the film. And if they can execute and Purdy stays healthy and they give them enough time, we're going to see the 49ers go aerial attack on these guys. Now, the only thing is, if the Eagles are giving up that many touchdowns, they're scoring that much. So they got a good offense. The Niners have to be able to hold them defensively.
David Delgado says huge factor. We'll have to have the O-line give Purdy time to throw.
Yeah.
If they do, the Niners can win. Yeah, the Niners offensive line needs to have a really good game pass protecting.
Mhm.
Straight up. They gotta have time to throw the ball. If this is the NFC Championship game all over again, we're gonna get our asses whooped. Straight
Absolutely. 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 Absolutely.
up. Let's change it over to defense a little bit. Since we talked the last time, Chase Young effect has really taken hold of this 49ers defense. 15 sacks in 3 games. What do you got to say about that? We talked about this in March, offseason. Niners need another edge. And all me and you got was, we got an edge. We got Drake Jackson. We got guys in house. Clelin Ferrell, Austin Bryant. We'll be all right. Nah, we weren't. 18 sacks in 8 games or something like that? We were doing not too great. 15 sacks in the last 3. How just happy, just elated are you how good how not easy, but how much of a difference he's made with this whole pass rush? And 2, how can we is there a way to keep him going into next year?
Yeah, both of those are great questions. First and foremost, I hate to say I told you so. Actually, no, I don't. I love to tell you, I told you so. Me and Aaron sat here for weeks, for months, and people, they got Clelin Ferrell. Fuck Clelin Ferrell. He's doing better now.
Drake Jackson,
Austin,
he ain't
Drake
even
Jackson
playing. He's inactive.
I took so much heat for not being a content creator to say that Drake Jackson's gonna be he's gonna be the second year phenom. Oh my God, I was probably one of the only people that every time I came on here, I don't know. He has to. I kept saying he has to prove himself. I don't know. I'm not too big. I know he's been working, stacking days. The reason last year Kyle Shanahan didn't play him for the rest of the half of the season almost, he wasn't strong enough. He was too tired. He didn't have the endurance. I can't imagine a guy going from your coach telling you need to stack days, get stronger, to having to take up all those snaps that they needed, right? All the snaps that they lost from all those key guys. We've talked about it. Chase Young was so vital to this team. You see how happy Nick Bosa is because he's not getting double, triple teamed anymore. He's not getting triple teamed anymore.
Everybody's eating.
Everybody. Javon Hargrave cooking. Arik Armstead. I posted his stats the other day. I was blown away when I was looking at stats. I was like, God, this guy is tearing it up because of Chase Young. Chase Young doesn't even need to get stats. His ability just to be there and his presence makes everybody else eat. And talking about if they're going to be able to afford him, I mean, the better he plays, the harder it is going to be able to afford him. But I think if they want to make sure Nick Bosa's happy and his defense continues to be where it is, I think they're going to find a way. I think they really are going to find a way. You could tell the way Chase Young's kind of talked about this team and how they've embraced them. And it's you could tell he's finally on a real good team compared to Washington. Washington was terrible. Trent Williams has said the same things over his career. Man, Washington did me dirty. Look how good this franchise. He loves this team. So obviously money's going to be a factor. The better he plays, he's going to get some big time offers wherever in this league. But if he really is serious about staying with the team that loves him and the vibe and the brotherhood, then yeah, I think he'll stay with the Niners, and I think they'll try to prioritize him. But right now, I don't even want to worry about that. I just want to see him continue to eat and help this defense because we got a long way till the offseason, Aaron, and I hope that offseason doesn't come till February.
Right.
Yeah.
And for all you people that know that song where it says, "Bitch, I said what I said," my part of the song is, "I'd rather have Chase Young instead."
Oh, I like it. That's a bar.
With my raspy voice.
That's good.
Bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather have Chase Young instead, not Drake Jackson. All you people that crapped on me for Drake Jackson, for me saying that I didn't believe in him, and you're all like, we don't need nothing. We don't need nothing. Yeah, come on now.
I mean, everybody
Drake
was
Jackson, Chase Young. I think I'll take Chase Young every single time.
And it's no disrespect to Drake. He could be a good player, but he just again, my whole take was this offseason was, okay, this guy played maybe 160 snaps. I'm making it up. They lost over 370 snaps between Ebukam, Omenihu, and Jordan Willis. Whether you think they're great or not, that's a lot of snaps. You think Drake Jackson is going to be able to step up and play all those snaps he did, compared to those guys, knowing the fact that he came into last season being benched for the tail end in December and January because Kyle didn't think he had enough strength and endurance. it just being in the medical field, being a therapist, like I know you just can't make that up and be like all of a sudden go from where Drake was to the next year be this like super monster where they're relying on you in every single snap. It's going to take him time to build his stamina and strength. It sucks. It sucks. That's the reality of it.
Peter Parker said Drake got burned out after the first game, right?
He did.
3 sacks. That was it.
He literally got burned out. He had 3 sacks. He probably needed like an oxygen mask. Like, I hate to say it.
We talked about that. And we're like, this is the amount of sacks we're going to see all year for Drake Jackson. And it is.
And we were, oh my God.
You know what? He lost snaps when Gregory got here. When we brought in Randy Gregory.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like Gregory I remember that game. Gregory's first game here. He was in, and then like you see them both kind of taking time out there, and all of a sudden, like the stretch run of the game, I saw number 5 out there the whole time. I didn't see 95 out there at all.
Gregory's been good. He's been solid.
He's a rotational piece that if you use him right, he's very, very effective.
Yeah.
I don't know if Fletcher Cox. Yeah, Fletcher Cox is in or out. Or is it to be determined? I am not.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at him because he was out last week. Okay, so several key Eagles missed practice again ahead of 49er team. Defensive tackle Fletcher Cox has a groin. Cox has a Cox injury. Zach Cunningham, I like that. Zach Cunningham, linebacker Zach Cunningham, hamstring. Tight end Dallas Goddard, his forearm. He should be coming back this week. Tight end Grant
out again.
The tight end Grant Calcaterra, ankle, never heard of him. Safety Justin Evans, knee. We're all not practicing on Thursday. According to this report, it says all 5 of those players were also listed on the non-participants on Wednesday when the Eagles released an estimated injury report. There is hope that they will be able to play this week, so we'll see.
Yeah. I know that didn't they just release like Derek Barnett or whatever his name was?
They did. But there's also rumors that they might try to get the guy the Colts released last week, right? Shaq Barrett, and then they also might try to go get like Zach Ertz. The Eagles are always going to add people on their team, but it don't matter.
I just need to go out there and get Zach Ertz. What are they doing?
Zach Ertz? I mean, we got George Kittle, man. Kittle over the middle is a beast.
Kittle over the middle, baby. I just it's been a revelation since getting him that the defenses look completely different.
Yeah,
he coupled that with the fact though too that we decided to finally do the most obvious thing, and that was to tell Isaiah Oliver to sit his ass on the bench.
Oh my God, revelation!
I can't believe how good Ambry Thomas has been playing, man. Bravo to him. I am not an Ambry Thomas fan, but damn, he's been balling. He plays that boundary corner position real good. I mean, you know, they're not perfect. They're going to give teams give up stuff, but that game against the Seahawks, man, they shut the Seahawks down in that game.
I'm watching the Seahawks team tonight, and they're moving the ball down the field pretty well. They're throwing. DK's had some nice like Mooney Ward specifically. We all know how great he was last week. Daddy Mooney. Clamp Daddy has to go and take his other son out to the park this weekend. AJ Brown. Devonta Smith, that's a tough task now. And Ambry Thomas, though, he gives me confidence compared to when Isaiah Oliver was in there. That was stressful. So, yeah, definitely a great adjustment by Sideline Wilkes to make that adjustment. And that was his guy coming into this offseason. So that was a huge move by Steve Wilkes because he believed in this guy. He didn't pan out, and he was not afraid enough to take the guy down and give Ambry Thomas the position. And that gave Ambry Thomas all the confidence in the world because he's been a guy that was on the roster, and they kind of seemed like they gave up on the guy. I know the fans did, but putting him in there, and you saw the interaction a couple weeks ago in that Jaguars game where they embraced after the big play. Ambry's really feeling it mentally. So he's got a big spot this weekend. It's going to be, as we talked about the Eagles secondary, the Niners attacking them, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to try to attack us. You know, Mooney Ward's coming off a big couple game stretch. Ambry Thomas, same thing. And Diamante Lenore in the slots played good. So far, since Sideline Steve has gone to the sidelines and they made the adjustments, secondary's been great. But a lot of it is because of the Chase Young effect, like you said, where he goes out there and this defensive line is getting the pressures. We talked about it, 15 sacks, 3 games. That is the reason the secondary is thriving. But, yeah, Ambry Thomas, man, has played phenomenal. Very, very aggressive. Him and Mooney Ward are very aggressive press man corners, and it's really giving teams fits. If you can get on under A.J. Brown's skin and Devonta Smith, it's going to be great.
The one thing that I'm worried about is Jair Brown a little bit. You know, I know he's been doing well, but I still have a little bit of reservations just because he's young. But that is the one guy that I think teams will probably start to look at. Sentinel asked me, the Sentinel football channel, he says, can I just say that the league having the schedule coming to play Philly again is freaking disrespectful. This rematch should have taken place at Levi's. Yeah, what's up with Philly getting all their home games, all their big games at home? Like, what's up with that? Like, can we get a road game with these guys, please? Why are we not in Levi's? Why do we need to play them in their house? Like, I'm not understanding that. Fuck.
Hold on. Can you hear me? Sorry,
I can hear you.
Okay, give me 1 second. I need to restart something real quick. Give me 1 second.
Yes, sir. No, we lost him. Game of the year on December 3rd. Damn right, man. This is a huge game for the 49ers. We got to win. Boom. Ambry Thomas, this is your moment. Yeah, this game's going to be a big one, man. Two of the best receivers probably in the NFL, and they're going against them on the same team, so we'll see. Al Brooks, Aaron, hello. Oh my God, we switched bodies. Okay, there we are.
Okay, we back?
We're back.
Okay,
sorry
about
having a little glitching.
Yeah, a little technical difficulties. So what were you saying? I missed that last part. Sorry.
Just talking about the fact that, you know, Jair Brown is someone I'm a little bit concerned about. I feel like teams, they went after him. I think, was it in the Tampa game they went after him? They gave up the big 40-yard play, and then, you know, they shut it down. He had a couple of plays, even though he was kind of like, that one of those pass deflections kind of like hit him in the helmet. It wasn't like he like really did much to it. That is the one position I think on the secondary right now that's maybe a little bit vulnerable. I just haven't seen enough from him to say that he's going to be able to hold up. But they don't really have much of a choice. They don't really have another. I mean, we lost Odom for the year behind him. He tore his bicep, or his pectoral muscle. I forget which.
No, bicep. He tore a bicep. He said he'll be out for 2 months at least, you know. So, yeah, that to me, if you're going to talk about a weak link in the secondary who's played well, like we said, it's Jair Brown. I mean, he's played solid since he's been on the roster, but he's a rookie. He's played 2 games pretty much, you know, so he's a guy that they're going to test. He's got a big, you know, he's got to come out and play his ass off because they're going to test him. It's a big game. It's the biggest game of his career already in his 3rd game pretty much. So, yeah, tough spot. You know, Talanoga's a great player to have to come in and fill the shoes in. Odom was a great special teamer. He was a good depth piece. They did sign Eric Harris this week. You know, he'll be able to fill in the shoes for Odom and
yeah, somebody in the comment, I forgot who asked, but they said, what do you think about Harris? I actually have no what's the word I'm looking for? I have no information on him. I didn't hear from him until they signed him. I don't know who he was. So
yeah, so I mean, if you look at the guy, he's more of a special teamer type guy. Like the reason they got him was to replace Odom. It wasn't to replace Hufanga. He's not a starter. He's not that type of guy. He's basically your special teamer because that's what George Odom was, and that's what they needed is to replace George Odom. That's all it is. He's a hard hitter. He's a safety that can play special teams. And Kyle talked about Odom and how he was a phenomenal. Like Kyle raved about George Odom, who's a special teams guy. That's how big they missed him. So yeah, that's kind of where his role is going to be. I agree with you, Jair Brown, definitely tough position. I think he's played well. I think he has a bright future on this team. He's going to be a guy that the 49ers really count on. You know, Talanoa, Hufanga, and him are the future. Gibson's got probably 1 more year, right? He signed a 1-year deal. He's getting up there in age. He's probably not going to be here for too much longer. He probably won't be back after next year. So, and Hufanga, hopefully he recovers and makes a full return. Jair Brown's going to have to really be a stud in this set. Like, not just have to be a guy that can go out there and play. I think eventually by next year, he's supposed to be like a star quality type player because Hufanga's coming back off an injury. This is a big game for him that he could really learn and develop and kind of get his footing down. This is a big game for him. So I'm excited to see what the guy can do. I mean, this was their prize draft pick of the offseason. You know, they traded up to get him, Aaron. This was a guy they had to get.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about Val Brooks here. I've never seen you in here before, but if You have been. I apologize. She says, I'm worried about our special teams. I am too. And our
Okay.
special teams is looking a little raggedy lately, giving up some big returns, not making kickoffs get to the end zone. Like, what's going on there? I thought the whole reason for drafting Nick Moody is so we have a guy that can kick kickoffs with no problem. And now we're having kickoff issues where the ball's not even getting to the 10-yard line. And it's just like, what's happening here?
Yeah, let's talk about special teams. So again, George Odom, he's going to be missed because he's a huge special teamer. Last week, they almost gave up a big touchdown, but Daryl Luter, heads up tackle, he saved a big touchdown, actually, a 4-point difference. That play was huge. The play that Daryl Luter had in that to stop the touchdown run early in that game was massive. That was a big time part of that game that was overlooked. So I think Luter, definitely his presence, he's getting better. So he's going to be a guy that steps in maybe for George Odom. As far as the kicks, man, Jake Moody, he's been like, his field goals are getting better. He's making those field goals, but now he's having issues with kickoff. So it's like, it's something with him every week. Just a lot of pressure. If this comes down to a game-winning field goal, I hope that I hope that Elliott, the kicker for the Eagles, isn't the guy that has that chance, because this guy is something else. That 59-yard field goal in the rain last week was incredible, man.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
fans are hoping that he misses.
I hope to God he does, but if Jake Moody, like, this is the thing. Would you rather see Jake Moody have to kick a game-winning field goal or Jake Elliott? Man, I don't want to see Jake Elliott have to kick a game-winning field. I don't want to have to see Jake Moody either. I'm going to be sick either way.
Yeah, I don't want to depend on any kickers to win games.
But the one special teamer that's playing out of his mind, Mitch Wishnowsky. This guy, the banana punt, he has been doing a great job of helping the 49ers stay in good field position. So if anybody deserves flowers on special teams, it's Mitch Wishnowsky. But yeah, the special teams is kind of that. But they got to be on point, because it's not just defense you got to win. It's not just offense. Special teams is important. In a game like this, you got to win all three aspects of the game, and special teams might be the difference in a game like this.
Interesting stat from Bazi Mayan. He says Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have never beat Dallas in Dallas. Well, that's a quick. I mean, they have a problem beating they seem to have issues with each other as far as like Phil. It's like Philly's weak link or something, even though, they seem to beat everybody else. So Cowboys need to do their job. Cowboys need to win tonight too.
Yeah.
Or no, Cowboys. No, who do we want to win tonight? We want Seattle to win so that they feel good about themselves. So we kick their ass again next week.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Seattle's winning 28-20, man. This game's been crazy. VZ408 says, do you think we can stop the tush push? I don't know, man. That's a tough play. I want to say,
you got to send a couple guys sideways, like lengthwise, and or feet first, or they cleat whoever comes over the top, right in the mouth. I don't know if you can. They need it. I think they need to I think they need to ban it personally.
I don't think so. It's just one of those plays, because if the Niners were running it and they couldn't stop it, we'd be like, oh wow, why would it? You just got to be able to. It's a tough play, man. It's a rugby play. Team, they're just strong, man. They got a strong O-line. They got a strong quarterback. It's tough. They
have arguably the best offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah.
Center, 1 through 5.
I think this, Aaron. I think they'll be able to stop it at least one time in this game, and it's going to be a big junction in the game. I think they might, but you know what? That's tough play, man. And so the 49ers have to minimize their chance to run that play. Like, that's the whole point, is you can't give them 3rd and short, 4th and short. You can't give them a short field, because they can just do it. Like, that's the whole point, is 49ers cannot allow them to have a short yardage situation, because the less chances they have, the less chances they're going to have to run that play. So to me, it's not about stopping the tush push. It's stopping them from having an opportunity to run it, if that makes sense.
Where is that?
Yeah, our defense might be able to.
VZ said, how do you feel about Ray? I don't know about you, but I get nervous when he returns. Yes.
Yeah, we haven't had a good return man in a long since Ted Ginn Jr. Like, we've been searching. I mean, Ray's okay.
Dexter Carter.
Yeah, Ray's okay, but sometimes he gives me a little stress.
Yeah, it's the Niners special teams has been kind of up and down this year, and right now they're kind of on a down slope.
Yeah.
If it's not Jake Moody, getting iced every single time somebody calls a timeout, to kicking kicks out of bounds, to I I guess Wisnowski's played his best, so I can't really get too much on him. But
Can't hate on him.
kick coverage has been abysmal on the kickoffs. So the Niners can't have any mental lapses in this game, especially on special teams. Because this game seems like the type of game where they thrive on that kind of stuff, and they're in Philly. It's going to be loud. It's probably going to be rainy. Let's talk about that.
What are your thoughts on if the 49ers have to play in the rain? Because there's a 50% chance.
I'm a little worried with Brock. I don't know. I mean, like Troy Aikman had some of the biggest hands I've ever seen, but he had issues with the rain too. He had issues gripping a wet ball. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like, do you wear a glove?
I think you should. I think you got to wear the glove. And you know what? The thing is, I wish they were practicing with the wet ball or whatnot. Kyle yesterday said that they're not going to practice with the wet ball. Maybe he's just maybe he's saying that, but I don't know why you would lie about that. Like, I think at least try it 10 times maybe in practice. Like, give them the opportunity to practice it, because to me that's kind of big. Like, if you're not practicing how the field may be, you're going to put yourself in a disadvantage, because that's scary, man. I think he should wear gloves. The 49ers and rain games they just don't go well. I know Kyle says that Purdy's great in the rain. He knows he can handle it. I believe it, but at least like mentally prepare him for that, right?
Yeah. I don't understand. Like, you just completely are like, oh, no, we don't need to do this or that. It's like, why?
The comment right here from
should
Val
be on the table.
Val says that Purdy said he'll wear a glove if it rains hard. So hopefully, if it does rain, Purdy's, and he's got the 40. He's a smart guy, so I trust Purdy. But man, I just hate rain games in general.
That's why I should have been in California. I shouldn't have to deal with this.
Oh, that comment.
If we go there for the championship game, it doesn't really matter.
That's why we got to win this game, because we cannot go through the link, and they've had a rainstorm the last 3 games over there. Yeah. Yeah,
I just don't see anybody besides us really giving them a tough fight, other than maybe Dallas.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Dallas.
I think they're gonna coast to a two-loss season. If the Niners beat them, I don't see them losing anymore. And if the Niners don't, I only see them maybe losing to Dallas, if that. So that means they're going to get the number 1 seed again, and the Niners are going to have to go on the road again, which what a lot of people are already expecting to happen anyways. But at least the Niners do their part and they come in and they win this game. Then whatever happens after the fact. But at least they can say,
at least the Niners will know mentally they can go in and beat them, like you said. But the thing is, beating a team twice in a year, that's tough, man. Like, I think what you said earlier is what I kind of like. Okay, if the 49ers lose this game and win the later game, I'd be like, if you ask me, gun to my head, would you be okay if they lost this game knowing that the 49ers are going to beat them in the playoffs? Absolutely. Absolutely. Take this loss and win the next game.
Hey, the 90 49ers that ended up losing to the Giants in the NFC Championship game, they won. It was a close game. I think it was like 10-9. The 49ers won the game in Candlestick in I think it was like week 11. And then the NFC Championship game was in Candlestick. And that was, of course, the game Montana was knocked out by Leonard Marshall.
Yeah.
And then that was pretty much the end of that era of 49er football. But it is possible that the team who lost can come in and win. It's not likely.
That it's impossible, but it's just a harder. And we've seen over the last couple of years, Aaron, the 49ers have had to dig deep, go on the road, travel, be the road warriors, and
it's tough. It's hard to win a Super Bowl that way.
Yeah, by the time you get to the NFC Championship game, you're gassed out. Where if you have the number 1 seed, you get an extra week to rest. Man, it's catered to the number 1 team. It is.
And that just really, if we think about it, the Niners did this to themselves with this 3-game losing streak.
Yeah.
They screwed themselves. They have no one to blame. They can't blame Philly. They can't blame whatever, the league, the officials. They screwed themselves. They should have won at least 2 of those games, if not 1. And they lost all 3. And so that's their deal, and they're going to have to live with that if they have to go on the road to Philly again and have to do a nice long playoff run. Because I just think the 49ers, if they have to go on the road in the playoffs every single game, I just don't see them winning the championship. I just feel like they're going to gas out, and it's going to be the same news as last year. Now, if they get a situation where Philly loses in the first round or the divisional round, and they somehow get a home game in the conference championship, then I don't give a damn, because then I think the Niners could actually win that game, and then they could just have their 2 weeks off, during the Super Bowl prep. But man, this is as tough a game. I'm as nervous as I've been since like us facing Dallas back in the '90s.
This is it, man. This is
it's
the
same
biggest
feeling,
yeah.
but this is good though. This
I
is
like
good.
it. I love it. It's great for me.
That means our team is good. That means their team is good. They're not garbage ass teams playing each other for nothing. This is this is for the NFC, man.
This is it, man.
This is
and
for that
everybody
number one
loves.
seed.
Everybody's watching all eyes on the Niners. Like, this is great, man. People are going to be tuned in droves to watch the Niners and the Eagles. Like, these are the it's nice to be one of the best teams, but it is stressful because you want your team to come out on top. And I remember those days back in the day, like biting my nails, pacing around, going, "Oh my God, are we going to beat Dallas? Are we going to beat Dallas?" Like, and you're like down to the wire, man. You shit your bricks, you know, you shitting bricks in your pants the whole game, you know, just stomach and knots, you know, all that stuff. But real quick, I want to ask you a couple questions before we head out. So, a couple things about this game. Who's your X factor, and who's your more like under the radar guy you think that's going to step in? Like this guy that's just going to be that takes over the game. That if he wouldn't have had a performance, is going to be the reason they win. So, let me know. Well, let me know.
The Niners, I think it's player number not. Who I think has a chance to really have a great game is Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
I think Christian McCaffrey has a chance to really shine in this game.
Yeah.
I know they haven't given up a lot of rushing yards, but they gave a lot of rushing yards up last week. A lot of them to quarterback of the Bills. His name is escaping me. Josh. No, it's not Josh. Is his name Josh? Josh Allen. Yeah.
Josh Allen.
But it's I feel like this could be a game for him because I think a lot of the onus is going to be on the Niners pass game. And I think Philly has that pass rush. And one way to stymie a pass rush is to run the ball. As far as a player that I think the Niners are going to need a big game from, and it might tip the scales, is I always go to the most reliable guy on our defense, and that's Fred Warner. I think Fred Warner plays really big games in big situations.
Yeah.
And if there's one player I can count on either getting a strip, sack, fumble, or just a strip in general, causing a turnover, changing field position, changing momentum, it's Fred Warner.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a big game, man. He's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in my eyes. I think he's got to help contain Jalen Hurts because that's one of the big keys is containing Jalen. His running abilities, phenomenal.
Yes.
You know, not just
I forget about that. That's huge.
That was his moment last week. Was that run against Buffalo? Like that was like, damn. He dropped back, tucks it in, takes off, looked like Michael Vick. You know, I was like, wow, that's the type of play the 49ers have stopped. And traditionally, the 49ers have had a bad time or a tough time defending mobile quarterbacks. So Fred Warner has to have a big game. I think he will have a big game. Obviously, I think he's going to be a big time part of this. I think an X factor that we talked about, Chase Young. To me, it's Ambry Thomas. This guy has to continue to step up because I think Mooney Ward, I think he's going to have a good game against A.J. Brown, but it's Devontae Smith is who I'm worried about. The guy's fast. Ambry Thomas has to keep up, man. I think Ambry's going to have a big game out in that secondary. Secondary has to be able to hang with these receivers because they're good. Can the 49ers contain their run game? I think they should. Again, Fred Warner.
Containing their quarterback, to me, is the most important thing that's something the Niners seem to struggle with.
Absolutely. And I think it's got to come down to Fred Warner being able to spy him. But again, my X factor, I guess, if I had one, is Ambry Thomas on defense. And then on offense, it's going to be I like the CMC. I think that you're right. But to me, it's Brandon Ayuk. And maybe I'll say Debo also because the receiver, it's Brandon Ayuk. Bottom line, Brandon Ayuk has to cook. We talked about how poor their secondary is. We talked about that they've given up 23 touchdowns. Purdy has to find Brandon Ayuk and eat the secondary part. That, to me, is the key. Brock Purdy has to shine, like we talked about, because all offseason it was boo-hoo, like Hassan Reddick said, and said, hey, look, if you guys had your quarterback, you said you would have won. Now prove it to us. He has to prove it. George Kittle, I think, has a big game because they're so bad against tight ends, like you mentioned. And then the other X factor on the offensive line is, or on this team, is the offensive line. Can they hold guys like Hassan Reddick and the Eagles' defensive line in check? That's a big test, man.
Would you rather have Feliciano in that position or Burford?
Absolutely. Feliciano's the veteran. He's played him before. He's been on the New York Giants and played against them. I love Feliciano. This guy is the veteran. He's not going to make mistakes. I love Burford. I think he'll be good, but he's young. He's making mistakes. This is a big game. I like the veteran. I like Feliciano. and my under the radar player in this game that's going to step up and have a big game. Man, last week he did it, and I think he's going to do it again. I got Jawan Jennings, man. I think he's going to step up and make some clutch money catches.
Third and Jawan.
I like this guy. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for Sunday. God, I can't wait. I wish it was Sunday right now, man.
Right. No, this is going to be a game where it's going to take a hellacious effort from everybody.
Absolutely.
D-line's got to eat, man. D-line's got to get home, man. You got to get some sacks.
You know who else got to eat? I got to eat.
Everybody's got to eat.
I got to eat.
Raj has to eat.
I'm hungry.
Let's do a real quick prediction for the game, and then we'll get out of here.
Okay, sounds good. Niners, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
My prediction for the game is 24, 49ers 24, Eagles 20. Niners win. Niners take the lead early, hold on late.
Okay, I like it.
Kind of a lazy ass score, but I don't want to go too high with the numbers.
No, I think it's going to be around that. I said this yesterday. It's going to be like between 20 to 27 around. Like both teams are going to have that. I'm going to go. I'll say 23 for the Eagles to 24 for the Niners. Game-winning field goal, walk-off field goal by Jake Moody.
Oh. You heard it here first, people. Jake Moody's going to hit a game winner.
And you know how many people are going to
be.
Can you imagine the hype he's going to get if he goes in to the link and kicks a game-winning field goal? Oh, man.
Christine Workman's got 30 to 17. Bazzi Mayan has Niners 37 to 17. Damn.
Wow.
Dallas 31-24. I can see something like that.
I like it.
Susan D is just saying absolute ass whooping. So you guys are confident, man.
I see it. Yeah, they are.
I thought you thought we'd do score on Friday. Well, we're not going to see each other till next week. So
I do my score on Friday, but you know what? I got peer pressured here, so I had to drop my score. Maybe it might change tomorrow. Don't miss.
It might change. You might have the Niners losing tomorrow. You never know.
Yeah, don't miss tomorrow's episode. Tune in tomorrow.
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. Hopefully the Niners will come out with a victory, and we'll be talking about it next week. Everybody have a great rest of your, what is it today? Thursday?
Hat backward.
And go Niners.
Hat backward, baby.
Remember to put your head on backwards, especially if you're a franchise QB. See ya.